Family of Air Force vet who died in VA care after being bitten by fire ants sues the U.S. Bitten by fire ants. The family of an Air Force veteran who died after suffering fire ant bites at a Department of Veteran Affairs long-term care facility near Atlanta is suing the U.S. government and pest control company. Now, I'll tell you guys what I was saying about wanting to end up in a place like this. There are retirement homes for military throughout the country. There are retirement homes for military veterans. You don't even have to be retired military. You just have to be a veteran, and you're eligible to get into these retirement homes or old folks' homes or long-term care facilities where you can go live out your final years, months in one of these places, cost-free or low cost, and your family can trust that you're in there taken care of, or maybe they can't. Because the lawsuit filed Tuesday in Atlanta federal court claims that Joel Marable, 74 years old, died in September 2019 as a result of more than 100 fire ant bites while a resident at the Eagles Nest Community Living Center, a long-term residence facility for veterans near Atlanta. Officials from the VA in Orkin and its parent company, Rollins, Inc., failed to respond appropriately or reasonably to the fire ant infestation in Mr. Marable's room. Marable was bitten over 100 times despite being aware of prior ant infestation issues at Eagle Nest CLC. The ineffectiveness of prior investigation efforts into the origins of the infestations and failure of prior treatment or remediation efforts, the improper and inadequate use of certain chemicals, inadequate training, and the risks, hazards, and foreseeable harm from fire ant bites to patients, including Mr. Marable. This is a horrible thing to have happen to him. It's a horrible way to lose your life, and it's unthinkable what the family must be going through right now. Absolutely despicable. The suit was filed by Marable's children, Laquana Ross, Jamal Ratchford, and Raquel Reed. The plaintiffs are seeking $10 million in compensatory damages. I hope they get $100 million against both the U.S. government and Orkin, and an unspecified amount of punitive damage against both. Marable served in the Air Force from December 1962 until his honorable discharge in July 1968. So look, he was in the Air Force for 6 years, and then 50 years later, still wants to go back to that military facility, that VA facility. He probably had VA healthcare his whole adult life after his service, I would guess. He's still connected with the VA. He goes into this VA long-term care facility, and what happens? They have a known problem with an insect infestation. They come in, they do a terrible job taking care of it, and then what? He gets eaten by fire ants, and I'm not sure, but I'm thinking he probably had some kind of anaphylactic reaction. His body just couldn't handle all the venom. If you've ever been, this is upsetting, right? You guys see me like this sometimes, especially with these VA stories. If you've ever been bitten by a fire ant, let me know in the chat. It's no joke. That stings. I've had a fire ant bite my leg in one spot. I'm like, what the hell? It's burning up like a jellyfish bite or something like that, or a bad bee sting or something. You definitely feel it. It sucks. And then he is obviously getting attacked by fire ants. He's not able to get out of the situation. He gets bitten up 100 times all over his body, I'm sure, all over his body. And then he dies. He dies of that. According to the lawsuit, Eagles Nest officials were aware of the fire ant infestations as early as February 2019. Remember, this is in September 2019. And multiple residents had been suffering fire ant bites or infestations by June. Marable was bitten in September and was washed off and moved to another room. After returning to his room, Marable was again attacked by another wave of fire ants, which again crawled across his room into his bed, over his body, where again he was bitten dozens and dozens of times. Before the ant bites, Marable was lucid and alert and planning to live out his remaining months in peace, surrounded by loving friends and family. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But after the bites, things changed. In September 2019, when the ant bite happened, ant bite attacks significantly weakened Mr. Marable's resolve and caused extreme pain, suffering, discomfort, and anxiety. The second wave of fire ant bites that Mr. Marable had, again over his arms, legs, trunk, and groin, proved too much for his weakened body and the spirit to bear. Due to the effects of over 100 insidious fire ant bites on his already cancer-weakened body, Mr. Marable passed away prematurely on September 7, 2019. Eagles Nest staff were negligent in failing to prevent the fire ant infestation, remove insect-attracting food from patient rooms, and keep the rooms clean. Orkin officials were negligent in failing to provide appropriate and adequate pest control services at the time. The Atlanta VA healthcare system continues to mourn the loss of Joel Marable, said Gregory Kendall, a spokesman, in an email to Military Times. We send our deepest condolences to his family and friends. Orkin officials, we only became aware of the lawsuit yesterday afternoon, and we were reviewing the data. Based upon our initial review, our records indicate we were only hired to perform limited exterior pest control services for some of the campus during 2019, and were not hired to perform interior pest control services. Honestly, I don't think that I would blame the pest control company. I don't even think I would blame the pest control company. What kind of care are these people under at the facility? What kind of care is somebody under that they would be bitten a bunch of times by fire ants, washed off, put back in a room to be attacked again to death? After the incident first became public, lawmakers expressed concerns and major changes were made by VA officials. Senate Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman Jonathan Isaacson from Georgia said he was shocked, horrified, and downright maddened by reports that one dying veteran was bitten more than 100 times by insects, and at least 2 other patients also suffered ant bites before staff at the Eagles Nest Community Living Center made any changes. The patient at the end of his life was clearly not being monitored closely enough. I am so sad for his family who had to discover his insect-infested conditions before anything was reportedly done, Isaacson said. VA officials decided to knock down Eagles Nest CLC facility and move patients to another one. Too little, too late. VA officials announced the permanent closing of the building housing the Eagles Nest Community Living Center after determining the building is no longer suitable for residential patient care, according to a media release issued in December. The Atlanta VA healthcare system is making plans to rebuild a state-of-the-art facility in Metro Atlanta area and increase long-term care beds at the Atlanta, Virginia's Trinka Davis Veterans Village. Veterans Village being a place like this where veterans go and stay, and they have shopping. It's basically like a retirement community. There's no excuse for what happened to this veteran, said Bruce Durrell, an Army veteran and one of the attorneys representing the plaintiff. Not only was his life and his family's time with him shortened, but the misery of his last days is beyond description. I can't even imagine. How horrible. How freaking horrible is that? That really saddens me. And it's a disgrace. And when we find out these veterans are being treated this way at veteran facilities, where they trust, where their time in the military, you fulfill your contract. You agree when you sign up that you're eligible for these VA benefits. The VA's out there and exists, and they tell you all these. They sell you all these things. They sell you these ideas when you join. They tell you about all your VA benefits. They tell you about your long-term care facilities. They tell you about your VA disability. They tell you about your VA health care. They get you to join off of it, and then you go there, and what happens? We have all these stories about you get people getting murdered, negligently killed, lack of care, long wait times, being turned away after calling for mental health crises. It's not even, I don't even blame the government. I mean, I really hold the individuals working there accountable. How hard would it be to just walk around and see what's going on? After somebody's already been, after 3 bite incidents, why wouldn't you be more careful with the rooms people are going into? It's absolutely negligent. Absolutely negligent. How can this happen? It's just lazy. It's absolutely lazy. And then right when I said it, Carlos says laziness is what it is. It's laziness. Yeah, that's right. It's laziness. And it's preventable. It's absolutely preventable. I mean, absolutely terribly upsetting. I am outraged when I read stuff like that, and I appreciate you guys with the comments on that. Spread this story. Share that story with people. Tell them what's going on at these VA facilities. Write your congressman. If anybody out there is from Georgia, write your congressman about how BS that is. Maybe whatever state you're in, look up if your state has a healthcare facility like this, and then maybe see what's going on there. Maybe write a letter to a veteran. I don't know. I'm gonna make that as a little note to myself and see if maybe that's something I can do. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching that clip from our live show. We're live right here on YouTube, Sunday through Thursday, 1800 Pacific Standard Time. If you want, come on by, join the chat. I'd love to hear from you. If you like that video and you want to see more, consider checking out this video right here or subscribing to the channel with this button right here. I look forward to talking to you really soon. I'm out for now.